limited. It's the same sugar bag
from Halloween 3 years ago.
Go trick-or-treating again.
Some fresh updates.
Thank you.
All right. Well, good evening. Welcome to the Holladay City Planning Commission work session of May 6, 2025. We have 4 items on our agenda today, and we have all commissioners in attendance except for regrets from Commissioner Vilchinsky. We have city staff Chair Lincoln Marsh present, and we do not have our legal counsel representation with us, so we will have to err on the side of caution and defer to city's knowledge if we lack it. Therefore, we will roll into the first item on our agenda, which is the Hinckley Estates subdivision preliminary plat. And is that going to be Carrie? You going to walk us through that?
Yes.
Sweet.
So, first item here with a subdivision as a PUD. So the applicant came in on this. They were just trying to move some lot lines around, and we realized that we needed to do a subdivision to create legal property. And with how they were laying out their lots, determined that a planned unit development would be the best option for them to pursue. In their packet, they have a layout of their, like what a standard subdivision would be with 2 lots. Their total amount of units they could have on there is roughly 6 to 7 once you take out access and all that. It's all family property. This house was included in the PUD. It's part of the family property, so they said, sure, we'll be in there so that we have additional preserved open space as part of their property. PUDs are really open as far as where lot lines are. It could be a single house with a little bit of private space, as we've seen in some PUDs. It can be more traditional lots. They can create essentially wherever they want private areas of ownership to be. So that's how they've laid out theirs. Based off of their own individual family members' needs. All the property will be retained by family members. I think let me show you their subdivision plat first with using the standard lot widths and dimensions and where those proposed 2 houses would go if they were laying it out with the standards of a subdivision. So this is the current existing parcel layout for the 4 parcels in question. They want to change this property line that's going down the middle here and bring it over this way so that both parcels could be accessed from the road more directly instead of having to bring the road up and all the way over to access that rear lot. This is what a standard subdivision would look like with the road coming this way and then the setbacks and whatnot that would affect where a house would be built. Based off of that, there's significant trees back in this area that would be removed based off of the buildable area, and then some potential trees back here. Another option that the applicant could do with a standard subdivision would be putting the road in this way on this side. So they have options for doing that. However, with utility access, reducing the amount of road, preserving more open space kind of all in one area, this is the proposed layout. Otherwise on here, you've got kind of a little section of open space back here, this backyard, a little section of open space that's back here, and then a roadway that kind of dissects the whole property. So for an ideal layout, that is why they wanted to do the PUD so that they can keep this all as open space and have it all joined in to this. Also, they have their setback is the same as what a setback would be on a standard lot. So they've got an 8-foot setback proposed on the side next to the adjacent property. If they did an 80-foot wide lot, they would have an 8-foot setback. So that's in line with what a standard subdivision would be. Their front yard setbacks are 20 feet, which is the same setback that would be allowed on a private road. So they're complying with that setback as well. Rear yards are, I believe, the same setback as well. So they have that just preserved as open space. Their building areas are shown on here. That's to encompass areas for like pool, other outdoor amenities, as well as a structure. The two building areas identified on these existing houses, both of these houses will remain. House was built in the last few years, so it's newer. They just put a building area around it with some additional areas if they wanted to do any type of deck or thing there. It's just a simplified, like the house is already here, we'll put a box around it. And then on this one, adding some space so that they could add on to that house if they wanted to, and then this carport, possibly converting that to a garage as well. So they just want to make sure that their building areas are identified on the plan so that they have some options for additions or whatnot in those areas.
Karen, if I could just pause real quick when we're looking at this graphic. I just want to clarify. So with the PUD that they're applying for, does that lock them into just 4 structures on here?
It does, because they're applying just for 4 units. If they wanted to modify that and add more units in the future, they would have to come back to the Planning Commission and modify their PUD subdivision. And that would be if they're adding additional units in existing structures or additional units in new separate structures. I mean, hypothetical, if they wanted to turn the carport into a unit, they could, but they'd have to come back to have that unit specifically added.
Well, the reason I ask, because this is R110 zoning, but they have quite a bit of square footage in there, right? So they could technically fit like 8 structures on this property, something like that?
I think it was 7 under the zoning. What was interesting when I was looking at just researching the subdivisions in the area for this neighboring subdivision, there was another subdivision in like 1950 that wasn't ever followed through and recorded on, but it broke this side down into like either 3 or 4 lots. So, you know, there's been some interest by the family to subdivide at some point, but obviously they want to maintain this open space that's important to them in their property. So limiting some of those structure areas and the number of units. So.
Okay, appreciate that clarification.
Yeah.
Carrie, one question. The gray area is currently there's a dirt road that goes in there.
Mm-hmm.
And are they proposing to extend that road and pave that road to go in to the Y? And the
Right.
Y is the turnaround for emergency vehicles?
Yes. So because the property, was originally developed in the 1950s, 1960s, it didn't have improved fire access on it, and it hasn't been improved since that point. So with adding new dwelling units onto the land, they would need to improve their fire access to meet fire access standards. So that would involve paving that so that it can withstand the weight of a fire engine, and making sure that there's a full turnaround area for both of these. It's a Y kind of structure. So the property owner here is aware. The trees here are on the separate property. So while they're shown here, in talking with this property owner who owns the land and those trees, he's expressed interest in possibly removing those in order to put the fire access there. But that's something that they'll just have to work out between the two. It's because it's outside of the boundaries of the PUD. They get to work that out, but it's not anything that's within the PUD.
So the 3 homes would be accessed from Floribunda, and the home on Sleepy Hollow, that's a different access point.
Right. Yep. There's no road that's going in there. I mean, if they wanted to have a dirt path or dirt road, they could do that, but it's not required for fire access. This structure is not going to use that. I think when I looked at their elevation as well, there's some pretty significant slope back here, and along this area that it doesn't make sense to put any sort of access across that. I think they've got that. Yes, here's their elevations. So you can see here's where your steeper slope is all along here. So sure, they could put in a roadway, but not likely that that would happen when that house already has access on Sleepy Hollow.
This is the existing access already for this lot. So why are they complaining?
All right.
And then on all of that access to, all of those are private easements and access that would be noted on the final plat. So staff would review that to make sure that there's easements noted on the plat. But those are all private agreements that are worked out between property owners.
There's a spider on my screen.
Only with the question, the key issue for the PUD is the benefit to the city, not to the home.
Right, and I
thought what I read is in the applicant material, which was kind of sparse when I got to that argument, was to preserve the open space and the trees at the expense of taking out most of the trees and trees off property. So I'm trying to reconcile how the argument is that the city benefits by keeping trees, and we're going to get rid of a bunch of trees.
Do we have the satellite image we can look at?
Yeah.
That might help.
Yeah, let's pull that one up.
Because when you go to the one that had the circles in it that showed the buildable area,
Right.
That was the not what they're applying for, but the example.
This is what it's.
But you have the same thing here, and at least the one map that I was looking at, over half of the trees would disappear, plus the 4 large pines that would disappear if the roadway, if they were taken out to accommodate the roadway, even though they're off property.
You'll run into that same issue with a subdivision. It's outside of their control, those trees. If they were doing a subdivision improvement, which would be what their legal rights are.
But
Those trees would still be there.
one of the last PUDs we did, clearly the developer was able to keep more of the trees by having the PUD, by being able to shift the footprints of the buildings and stuff. Do we have evidence that that would happen here? Or is that?
So the intent is to build the structures up toward this area. So this one and then this one. I believe that they're preserving most of these. Some of those would possibly be affected. And then along this side. Whereas I think most of the trees, like all of these, would be affected on the alternative layout, less trees with this, with a roadway going in here.
Yeah, we'll probably hear more about this later. To me, it seemed that the only rationale that was offered that would benefit the city was preserving trees and green space, and the burden is on the applicant to show that that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think
Not on us, not
right,
on city staff, but on the applicant to show that. And so I guess that's why I'm saying I'm going to be listening for that, or looking for some evidence that that city benefit, that the burden's been met by the applicant,
Sure.
that the city benefits from this proposal.
Yeah, I think the other thing they brought up in their neighborhood meeting, where they have the details in there, is just the utility access, and then the road not have like fewer paved surfaces that would be involved with keeping it with just the one access road.
Okay.
So just less surface.
I know when we hear a whole bunch more stuff, maybe it'll jump out at me. But to me, the PUD issue is the burden is on the applicant to show the value to the city. So hopefully we'll hear the value to the city.
Carrie, correct me if I'm wrong, with it being a PUD, we do have more liberty to impose vegetation restrictions than we would in a subdivision. For example, if, there's concern about tree preservation that comes up as the argument. Correct me if I'm wrong, we can say, okay, well, it's got to be a 1-to-1 ratio or even a canopy ratio of replacement in one of these preserved open space areas for whatever you remove, as where with a regular subdivision, we wouldn't have that. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah.
So, but a great talking point to discuss later for sure. Thank you.
Any other questions from commission members on this application? I know that we've had a few comments from neighbors regarding covenants that are at the property or potential covenants. Researching some of that, there may be an issue with covenants that are recorded on the property, but the applicant's aware of that. They've got a lawyer that's looking at it, and it's not the city's responsibility to enforce or follow covenants that may or may not be on a property. That's then the applicant's responsibility, and wouldn't affect any approvals that the planning commission would either give or deny.
Right. All right. Ooh, should be fun. All right. With the 10 minutes we have left, let's talk about the Davies subdivision.
Sure.
Item number 2.
This will be a new one for most of the commission. Commissioner Roach and Commissioner, I always forget last names, Prince. You've seen this one. This is a 3-lot subdivision. It is on the corner of 6200 South and Holladay Boulevard. Our 143 zone, dividing into 1-acre lots. All of those will be accessed from Holladay Boulevard. All right, scrolling down through here. We've got a few things.
Is this the same one we did before and something stopped it from happening and now,
Yeah, so.
now we had to do it again?
Yep, we did a conceptual in 2022, and then they didn't come back for their preliminary. So they have reapplied and doing preliminary. I know their engineer currently is working on updates with their civil plans. I think some of those were submitted, but it might have some additional corrections that they just need to make before the final. And that's listed as one of the conditions.
But conceptually, was there anything different between
No.
that plan and this plan?
Nope.
Good.
All right. Any other questions on item number 2? Okay. And then we have a recurring action item, number 3, for the 5025 South Highland.
Yep, so the applicant's back with this one showing the 10-foot sidewalk and have added in a 10-foot setback along Highland Drive as part of their PUD. I think they have their trees there along the side and some vegetation that's showing. They removed the patio areas and just encompassed that into the building, so they've increased some of their commercial square footage. Nothing else has really changed. Oh, they added the landscaping in the parking lot as required. So that's all shown on there.
And does this, and I'm just trying to remember, did we quantify in any way the trees? I know we asked for more along the back, east property line. Did we ever quantify anything on that, or did?
It was more than required.
Okay. And does the, 8 that are on that back row exceed requirement then?
I would say so. Having 2 trees on those more narrow properties they'll fill in.
Okay.
You could be specific about the canopy if you want, at least one of them having whatever canopy size or something, but that is up to you to decide.
I don't want to be the guy that has to go out and measure that, so. All right. Any other questions on the site plan? Just me? I'm the only picky one? All right, fair enough. And then we have a text amendment. And we've seen this one a few times now, and it looks like this is just about ready to put the stamp on it and send it off. But questions, I looked at the revisions myself, but I know some of us looked at it a little closer than others.
I think we're almost there. We're almost there.
So very well could be at the point of having that final motion for this body tonight then. So, all right. Any other questions on any of the 4 items that we needed to discuss in the work meeting while we've got a couple minutes left in the work session? No? All right. Well, then with that, we'll close the work session and take a 5-minute recess and come back ready to rock and roll at the top of the hour.
Okay.
Top of the hour, welcome everyone to the Holladay City Planning Commission, May 6, 2025. We have all commissioners in attendance except for regrets from Commissioner Velchinsky, and we have our city staff here, and we are absent legal counsel tonight. And with that, I have asked Vice Chair Prince to read our opening statement for the members of the public here tonight.
The City of Holladay Planning Commission is a volunteer citizen board whose function is to review land use plans and other special studies, make recommendations to the City Council on proposed zoning map and ordinance changes, and approve conditional uses and subdivisions. The Planning Commission does not initiate land use applications, rather acts on applications as they are submitted. Commissioners do not meet with applicants except at publicly noticed meetings. Commissioners attempt to visit each property on the agenda where the location, the nature of the neighborhood, existing structures, and uses related to the proposed change are noted. Decisions are based on observations, recommendations from the professional planning staff, the city's general plan, zoning ordinance, and other reports, by all verbal and written comments, and by evidence submitted, all of which are part of the public record.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair Prince. And with that, we have 4 items on our agenda tonight. We have 2 public hearings, and then we have a couple action items. The first item that we have up is the Hinckley Estates Subdivision Preliminary Plan and Plat at 4888 South Floribunda, and with that, we will invite city staff to give us a review of what is in this.
Okay, Chair, really quick. Okay, nope, it's not on yet. Is that working? Yes. Okay, so thank you, Commissioner Roach. This first item is a residential subdivision as a planning and development titled Hinckley Estates at 4888 South Floribunda Drive. It does involve 4 separate parcels there as shown on the screen. All of these parcels are owned by either the Hinckley family or members of the Hinckley family, portions that have been sold to family members. The applicant wants to keep the property within the family, but the current parcels on the south side are not subdivided parcels yet, so they're not buildable. So they are getting those in line so that they can be sold and enable future development when each individual family member is ready to do so. The total amount of area is 1.65 acres, which is 71,642 square feet. It's in the R110 zone, which has a minimum lot size of 10,000 square feet. This project area would allow for a total of 7 dwelling units based off of the gross land area. Just a review of standards in the R110 zone. That would involve, again, 10,000 square feet of land per lot. Each lot would have to have an 80-foot minimum lot width, 60-foot minimum frontage width required at the street, a 20-foot setback from a private right-of-way, a rear setback of 22 feet, which would increase with lot size. Side setbacks are 25% of the minimum lot width. So on the 80-foot wide lot, an 8-foot side setback would be required on one side, and that is then 12 feet on the other side. Lot coverage is 31% for structures. Hard surfaces included in that brings it up to 36%. The building height is 32 feet for lots that are under half an acre, 35 feet for lots that are half an acre to 1 acre, and then 40 feet for lots over 1 acre. Graduated height standards require that the structure fit within a building envelope created by a 45-degree angle at a point that's 8 feet above the property lines. That just keeps structures from being too tall, too close to a property line. The details of planned unit development and what the purpose of that is included in the staff report, which the commission has all reviewed. A technical review committee analysis of those requirements for both a preliminary plat and an analysis of the requirements for a PUD have been looked at by staff, and assessment provided for the commission's review. Recommendation from the TRC is an approval, and the commission can interface with the applicant on the various portions of a PUD. Preservation of open space is a key part of a PUD, and to allow some flexibility for how lots are laid out to preserve features and character of an individual site. I will have the applicant come up and they can run through their project, and I'll run through their site plans as they describe that.
Thank you very much. And with that, we look forward to the applicant or representative thereof to come up at this time.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. My name is Christian Rennie, and this is my wife, Duong Kamong Rennie. She goes by Dee. I am the grandson of Gene Hinckley, who currently resides at 4880 South Floribunda Drive. And the property's been in our family for the last 90 years. And we've been working with my grandma for the last few years to see how we can keep it in the family and make it a place for my family to live for a while. And through this process, we wanted to make sure we respect her in Holladay City. And we're planning for the future with no immediate plans to build. Our proposal is twofold. First, a new subdivision changing the property boundary lines. The existing property line runs north to south, and we want to move that to east to west. And second, create a planned unit development. The new subdivision will align the lots to the existing road, Floribunda Drive, and eliminate the need for a private road to be built, which would preserve green space. A road would be required to access the landlocked western lot as it currently stands today. The current subdivision would require the removal of most of the trees and vegetations to build the home and the road. When we showed the lot configuration to Holladay City, the suggestion from the staff was to create a subdivision in conjunction with a planned unit development, or PUD. This allows for flexibility in building areas while focusing on the preservation of existing greenery, mature trees, and open space. The PUD consists of 4 lots, as has been explained: Gene Hinckley's home, 4880 South Floribunda Drive; Paul and Jeannie's home, 2830 South Sleepy Hollow Drive; and the 2 lots on Floribunda Drive, 4888 and 4890. These changes should not result in significant traffic to Floribunda Drive, as it is 2 residential homes at the end of the street. With our best understanding, we believe this project meets the standards outlined in the Holladay City Ordinance 13.08.040F, The use will not be detrimental to the health, safety, or general welfare of persons residing or working in the vicinity. The project involves low-density residential use that aligns with the surrounding properties and will not introduce any unusual or incompatible impacts to the neighborhood. We appreciate Holladay City's request for this proposal and look forward to working with the staff, the chair, the planning committee, and future neighbors to ensure the best outcome for the neighborhood and the city of Holladay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And if I can just ask a quick question while I've got you up here. During our work session, there was a question about tree preservation with the current lot layout. And it sounds like your intent is to conserve that open space and try and protect a lot of that tree canopy. Is that right?
That's correct.
So would there be any opposition or concern if there was a stipulation put on there that if a favorable recommendation moves forward, that you're held to that as far as anything that gets pulled out with the result of building, putting it back in essentially?
No concern.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that point up front, so I appreciate that. Commissioners, any questions for the applicant at this time? All right, we'll go ahead and have you sit down then. Thank you so much for that introduction. And with that, we will roll into our public hearing, which I will open now. For those members of the public who wish to speak on this tonight, we ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. And if you're following another member who is of the public who's already spoken, that you try not to reiterate the same points. And also, when you come to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. So with that, anyone interested in coming up at this time, you're welcome to do so. Rock, paper, scissors? Okay.
Hi, by the way, my name is Christian Hansen. We are he's the next door neighbor. So on that
Address, please.
4867 South Floribunda Drive. So our driveway is next to that orange thing right there. That's our driveway.
So you're the white, if we're looking at the satellite image, you're the white roof.
Yeah, actually, if you want, I can well prepare. I know you said 3 minutes. Sorry, this is going to take all my 3 minutes. But I got stuff for you to review.
Is that it?
Yes, white roof is us.
Okay.
That's us. And I prepared a more lengthy description of thoughts, concerns, potential issues, and wanted to submit one for the public record today. And then I have copies for everybody. They should have been in your packet. We submitted them. Are you Carrie, by the way? Yes. Nice to meet you. We've exchanged some emails. So these should have been in your packet, but they were just kind of a more comprehensive point of view, concerns, wanted to make sure that you did. And if you didn't, I'm happy to give you hard copies right here. You got them? Okay. And then this one's for the public. Everybody got one?
As far as I know, we all received that email, yes.
Cool. Well, I did send 2 emails, so I want to make sure you got the latest and greatest one. Okay.
I believe we received
Yes,
both,
that's
yes.
the email that I sent
Okay.
over. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, we did this afternoon, thank you.
Great. The first thing I want to start with and note for the record is we found out about this 8 days ago. So it's been concerning and trying to kind of figure out, well, what are all these implications and why such a short period of time? But we're doing our best to be prepared with thoughts and to be informed and also be a good neighbor. What we've heard from them is there's no urgency to build. And our thoughts would be, is it possible to pause and talk through some of the key issues together to try to get those issues resolved? We're not opposed to homes, and I'm confident that we could figure out some of these key issues by talking about them first and talking about the implications to them and us. The biggest one is something that this, what would you call it? this matter has brought to our attention, which is the fact that we were told that there was an easement over that portion of what I call our driveway, and there is not. So that is our property. There's no recorded easement, and that's their proposed access. So that's something that I would assume we would want to have discussions about and get some clarity on. And then that's all in here if you didn't notice it. And the question is it legal to approve a PUD without confirming access to the road? Now, they can access their homes through the right-of-way, which terminates at our property line. And so adjusting it would work, and that can happen. Another thing that our neighbors have wished is they own the property directly to the south of us, and their desire is to move that road as it currently stands furthest to the west along the westernmost part of the right-of-way. Did you follow that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so that would take out all those tree canopies. And then, as I understand the language of our right-of-way agreement for that section, they're entitled to do that. And then we're also, as the benefiters of the right-of-way, responsible to pay for that. So that's another thing to try to work out if they do want to move the road. How are we paying for that? Are we paying for it by individual lots? Does that make sense? Are we paying for it because the right-of-way doesn't stipulate, it just says the beneficiaries will maintain the road. So that's something to work out. The other thing is, as I've asked some people to look at this can happen with existing zoning if you do a 15-foot lot adjustment between the two lots. So it can say this existing zoning, one lot just has to give the other lot a little more property, and you can do what they want to do. The third thing I wanted to mention is there's setbacks of Floribunda Heights, which is a subdivision of the public street of 35 feet, and those are in the covenants of the Floribunda property, or of Floribunda Heights. And then there's a shared value in that, and Gene and the prior owners of our home signed that document. So my thought would be is the intent was to honor the 35-foot front yard setbacks. And the last point that I just wanted to make is kind of understanding more about what's the role of a PUD. To me, it seems like the project is unrelated with the home on Sleepy Hollow, and that's a different access street. Also, it would create confusion because if they join as a PUD, then they're accessing, or are they sharing in the cost of maintaining the public road, not the public road, the private road? So there's just some confusion and conversations that I think need to be had around that. In my opinion, there's not a unified design with that extra home. There's no public benefit, and what are we actually accomplishing except for a lot line adjustment, which can be done with existing zoning. And like I said, I submitted this that has more of those. So I would ask that you not approve this without clarity around access, those setbacks, and getting the public benefit. We want to get it right, and we want to honor Gene, and we want to honor our family, and we hope to be fantastic neighbors of these guys for a really long time. And I think we can with conversations, but it's hard to do that when things feel very rushed. So thank you.
All right. Thank you for your comments. We appreciate it.
Oh, and I did bring extra documentation if that's helpful in your, so I don't know if I can leave hard copies that might help you. I think I sent you a lot of this, but I just tried to print it out just so it was easy if you're in person reviewing. those kind of things.
Yeah, they got them all in an email. I have an extra copy of comments that were offered to the commission before or when they arrived for their work session, so they're all familiar.
So I killed a bunch of trees.
All right. Well, thank you again for your comments.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. All right. Do we have anyone else who wishes to make comment tonight? And just as a reminder, if you would restate name and address and try to avoid overemphasizing points already made.
Maybe I should sit down. So I'm Dave Dellenbaugh, and we're at 4915 South, and my wife's trust owns 4891. And I just wanted to clarify.
I'm sorry, stop you real quick, Dave. 4915 South and 4891, what?
Floribunda.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So if you could put the color one up again. Thanks, Carrie. So these 4 trees, and Christian kind of mentioned these, ultimately our plan as the owner up to here, up to the western boundary of the PUD, our plan is to take these out and put an asphalt road in. If asphalt is required by the city, we're going to put whatever is required by the city in here. And that's what I believe Christian was mentioning when he was talking about removing these. And as I understood it, when Christian, the other Christian, Ray, made the commitment that he wasn't going to take any trees out, that only refers to within the boundaries of the PUD. That was my understanding. Because these are outside the boundaries of the PUD, and they will be taken out when the formal road goes in. Formal road will end up on the western boundary of the property. But there's no reason to remove them right now, because there hasn't been any planned development. So
I'm just going to pause you real quick, and I apologize. I don't want to put you in a box, but I need you over here talking into the mic for our person that records these meetings. So unless you need more of that infographic, I'm just going to have you finish here.
You understand what 4 trees I'm talking about?
Right.
It's just to clarify, it's my understanding that Christian Rennie's commitment to keep all the trees means within the boundaries of the PUD, not on boundaries outside of the PUD.
Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Do we have anyone else here that wishes to make comment on this tonight? Once, twice? All right. With that, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing on this. And we will invite the applicant, if they want to come back up, to address any of the comments that were made. You can pass if you don't want to. It's up to you. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach, and thank you, Dave and Christian, for your comments as well. And we, like Christian mentioned, want to be good neighbors as well, and know that we do need to work through some of the easement. And one of the reasons we wanted to get this finalized was to know, hey, where are things going to land with the city before finalizing all those easements and road access. And just to clarify that the Hinckley property and these lots are not part of the Floribunda Heights subdivision. Was there something you wanted to add?
Yeah, so we were looking into that, and we saw the signature, but if we look at how many parcels that include in that subdivision, it doesn't include Henson's lot, all lots, and I need to look into it, but it's kind of in where the private roads start. So we, for that part, we can discuss later on of how to solve that issue, but we are aware of that.
Okay.
And the setbacks, all the setbacks are in accordance with the city ordinances as well. So everything's in line with the requirements from the city. And we do want to reiterate our desire to preserve as much greenery as possible with these new subdivision lines. And the PUD allows us to save some significant trees on the property line, which is beneficial for the community as a whole.
Okay.
Just one thing. And right now, if you see the hash area, that's where we already put the preservation area that we designed not to be touched at all on that green space. So that's, but if you need more space, we are willing to work on that. But I just want to let you know that we did all of that and look into it.
Okay. And just while you're up here, so the hash is already dedicated as preservation, but if I'm understanding what you presented to us tonight, everything in the green area as part of the PUD would be considered or maintained as open space. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
The yellow is the buildable area.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify on that. Thank you. Appreciate it. Commissioners, any questions for the applicants before they sit down? All right. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. With that, commissioners, we can now have some, Commissioner Barrett.
This is a question for staff. On the access, how does the northeast lot get access if it stops, according to one of the people who spoke?
So I think you're referring to this property line here and where then the access is. This lot was previously owned by a member of the family, so there was an easement that was put in place. I don't know the details of that easement and how it relates with this property, but that's something that they would have to make sure is all in place before a final plat would be recorded.
Okay, so is that grounds to do a continuance on this, or do we have?
It can just
how soon
be,
do we get that resolved?
yeah, it could just be a condition. That is something that we check when we are doing final plats, is that easements and access is all noted on the plat. Pretty standard thing that we get on any private development.
But if they can't get it from the neighbor, you're going to have to use a helicopter. What I'm
right.
I'm joking, but
if they can't get access, then they wouldn't be able to record the property. So that would, where it's a condition that that's on the final plat, that's one of the things that we're ensuring is on there. If it's not there and not in place, then it doesn't meet requirements to be recorded.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and we heard reference to the Floribenda Heights HOA, which it sounds like there's some potential dispute, concern about who's members of and whatnot. Just to clarify, for this body, we don't recognize or adhere to anything HOA restriction. We only abide by city code and property rights. Is that correct?
Correct. So your approval is based off of what the city standards are. If there are additional covenants and restrictions, that's the property owner's responsibility to look at and maintain if they are applicable. If they're not, then that's your approval is just based off of the city standards.
Okay. But the easement concern is not something related to the HOA, or it is? It's not. Okay.
I have a follow-up question to that access. There's currently an existing home that I believe Gene Hinckley lives in. How do they get there?
So they get there from that access. So that's part of that there's already access in place. It's unclear as to if there is a legally recorded access. It's just been.
But I'm thinking that, I mean, if someone's lived in a house for a really long time, isn't there an assumed easement at some point after like 50 years? You just go, yeah, there's an easement there. How does that work? I will admit I do not know.
So that would be, you're talking about a permission-based access versus a unknown non-permissive. So if you have property that's being crossed without permission, the property owner doesn't ever stop that access, then that's when an easement is automatically applied. If the property is being accessed or crossed with permission, then an easement may or may not fall into place automatically.
And do we have any idea?
Not.
Do we have any idea if there was ever permission granted, or if this is a circumstance where it's just been assumed for 50 years?
Likely that it's been permission-based, where it was in the family before, and then that property has been sold, I think, a couple of times since the original family member owned it. It's likely that permission just stayed in place, but without a legal description of where the easement is and what it entails and a formal agreement for it. That's something for those property owners to work out if they want that or what that looks like.
If you go to the next slide down, it shows the surveyor that shows there's a right-of-way that you can see it's about 50 feet wide that goes all the way to that parcel. And then there's the 32-foot non-exclusive right-of-way. Do you see that as it goes further north? Bigger piece. So I don't know if that's what they're using as the legal boundary. So
I don't know if the public can speak at this point, but I can help with some of that clarity.
I don't.
I don't know if it's related, where it's just that they have to work out their
Okay.
easement stuff.
well,
If it is required to the civil easement that's not being considered as part of this, then I would say probably not.
That answer, that's Mountain Fuel's easement. The 50-foot is Mountain Fuel. And if you look at the packet I gave you, it's marked in blue, and that's Mountain Fuel's easement. The recorder, that is inaccurate. If you look at the 6 other, this page from my thing, the plat map has it recorded right. The survey that Folsom did in 96 has it recorded right. The survey we did in 17 recorded it right. And then I had a title company also do it, and it was more right.
okay,
I don't know if it matched exactly, but just so you know, that's Mountain Fuel.
never mind.
Okay.
Sorry.
So it sounds like it's a fuel easement and, okay,
Well, the right-of-way.
right away, excuse me.
That's a big fuel easement.
Yeah,
Right.
lots of fuel.
2 fuel lines go on both sides of the road. It's on the 96 easement map, the dotted line, if you want to look at that.
All right.
Chair, I'm struggling with the timeline. If we approve the subdivision tonight, for example, it says fire access requirements are met. I don't think they are yet. I don't know, that it also says that PUD elements have been found to be incorporated in the approved drawings, but we haven't approved a PUD, so we couldn't use that as part of the motion. It would be putting the cart in front of the horse, I think. But and then especially with the statement that there's no urgency to build here, what would be wrong with letting these folks have a couple of weeks to talk this through? I think in the end they're going to come and answer all these questions, and our job will get much easier. And that we can't tell them what the answers are. That they have to work this out. We're not a party to resolving all these answers. And that I'm just troubled by trying to do this tonight. And that even the subdivision, I think we're ahead of ourselves because the rationale that's offered here from staff, really, I couldn't support it. And I think they tell us when they're ready to come back.
In terms of Mr. Tierlink on this one, based on comments tonight and the discovery of the concern around easement, everything else, what would your suggestion be on that? Do you feel like this would be something that would be better having everything vetted out before any decisions are made at this point?
Because some of those comments came at least to staff within the last 72 hours, we haven't been able to make a full assessment, and really it's not the Planning Commission's role to make a judgment on private easement requirements, because this entire development is under private access. If we're on a public street, we wouldn't have an issue. Everyone has access to public roads. So at least continuing it to make sure that there's clarification, at least on the access easement section, it would be probably prudent. From staff's point of view, approving a subdivision based upon the R110 zone, that's the first requirement for a PUD. Primarily, just like utility availability letters, making sure each individual new lot has health and safety requirements met. Primary access is another one that needs to be clarified as well. And having that as a condition to come back to you would just further delay a concept type approval from my point of view. I'm chatting with Brad, and he believes it's a similar safe approach. So you can take that for what it's worth.
Okay. Appreciate that input. So what I'm hearing from city staff is like, it's not going anywhere if we move forward with it, and it's not something that's considered based on what's presented to us tonight. So is that enough to say, well, hold on, pump the brakes, this needs more time, or do we feel like we've received enough to say, well, we can at least approve the plan in front of us?
I don't have any problem with approving the subdivision as long as we take out reference to these, the fire access and the PUD. And that, you know, it meets the requirements. I don't think that's a problem. I would have the problem with the PUD part. I think we need to flesh that out with the PUD part, the second motion, and that. And the last time I think we did a PUD, we got to see where all the trees were being saved and everything. I don't think the applicant's ready to do that yet because we don't know what they're going to propose.
Yeah, I mean, thanks, Commissioner Cunningham. It is two motions. The subdivision, you have to prove that the carrying capacity is met for the zone first, and then the second part is the PUD aspect. So splitting them should not be a concern, but at least having that clarified before a PUD element is approved should be a condition of that approval coming back to you.
So what you're suggesting tonight is that you feel okay about moving forward with the lot or the subdivide, but not the PUD based on everything? Okay.
And just the language for the approval of the subdivision, I would strike 5 and 7 and that, and just move it forward.
Okay. Other commissioners?
I guess, who are we to strike 5 though? I mean, if, who are we to strike 5?
Well, we're the planning commission.
No, we're accepting staff's recommendation that we find as a finding that their fire access requirements are met. I don't think they're met until they resolve how they're going to get
Access.
Y-X and all that.
Okay.
You know, and I don't think we have to have that finding, do we, for subdivision?
I would think so.
Access, yes.
Yeah.
It's one of the,
Absolutely. So the fact that the fire truck, if there was a grass fire and the property would drive into the grass and put out the fire.
So are you talking about having the access built before the subdivision is approved?
No, it just says it as a finding, fire access requirements are met.
Well, I think the finding is that as it's drawn here, it meets the International Fire Code as a design of a turnaround. And then the fire,
So if it's
fire
just the
marshal has
design
reviewed that.
concept is met. In other words,
I see where you're coming from. But
Yeah.
As far as the drawing that's been proposed has been reviewed by Area Fire Marshal from Unified Fire as meeting the requirements of the International Fire Code for a turnaround, for a fire access turnaround and access driveway.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. Okay, if it's just conceptual, I'm okay with that. I would want to strike 7 though, because I don't think whether or not PUD elements are incorporated in the approved drawings. I think that presupposes something that may or may not happen.
Sorry, again, one other thing.
Sorry, we're past public comment at this point, so. Unless,
You can reopen comment.
like, I mean,
feel like you need to.
does the commission want to reopen real quick for this?
No.
Hold on just a second. Are commissioners comfortable with reopening, or do we think we have what we need to move forward with something at this time?
I think we have enough.
Any other commissioners feel like there's a need to take more comment? I think we're good. Thank you very much. No, we're just going to pause you there and appreciate. So with that,
I suppose the question I'm struggling with is, do we continue to consider this, or do we ask it to be, do we look at a continuation to deal with some of these issues? The access to the property issue seems a fairly large one to me. That's kind of where I'm at, is wondering what to do.
Well, what is the harm in continuing both?
Well, exactly. I'm not convinced that there's anything wrong with continuing to allow a little bit more time to settle some of these issues.
well, I'm all ears if someone's making a motion one way or another right now.
Well, John, help us out here again, since you're our resident expert. For the subdivision part of this, is there entitlement to have a vote tonight?
No. If you're just approving a concept, no.
Okay, then I'm fine with putting it up.
This is Commissioner Prince. I'd like to make a motion to continue the preliminary plat for Hinckley Estates, a 4-unit residential subdivision in the R110 zone located at 4888, 4890, 4888 South Floribunda Drive, and 2830 East Sleepy Hollow Drive, to allow more time for the property owners to discuss access.
If you wouldn't mind mentioning the next meeting date, so that you don't have to renotice it.
And the next meeting date is?
Is 2 weeks enough?
Yeah, well,
May 20th.
What is it? May 20th?
In hopes of meeting the May 20th meeting.
This is Commissioner Font. I will second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We will call for a vote. Start down here. Commissioner Barron?
Aye.
Commissioner Gahn?
Aye.
Commissioner Prince?
Aye.
Commissioner Font?
Aye.
Commissioner Cunningham?
Aye.
And Chair Roach votes aye. So with that, this will be continued until the May 20th meeting. All right, thank you very much.
A quick comment too, maybe to assist the applicant in what you're looking for on the PUD, to meet the requirements of a PUD. What did you feel that was missing that they would need to improve on their plan?
For me, the only thing they're missing is access.
Access, fire access.
Yeah. I think the rest of it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to pick on some tree stuff, but that can wait.
It'll be tree stuff.
So I guess that's then direction with their PUD. If they're making some changes and addressing some of their access issues, what are the tree issues that you'd like to see addressed on there?
So we didn't get too far into this, but I would pretty much would just like to see ISA standards of tree protection zones put in place for any construction that's near the tree canopies they're trying to preserve on the Floribunda, on the south side of it. And any trees they're looking to preserve with any of their other construction pads. Because it would be an awful shame to approve a PUD with the idea that we're going to try and preserve trees and then go out and kill all the trees through construction methods. So that would be step one. And then step two would be if there are trees that have to come out because of the size of the construction pad that's on that south lot, or into the west side of these two properties, that the canopy size that's taken out be replaced in one of the other dedicated green space areas to help preserve that urban forest.
Do we have jurisdiction at all over those easement issues and or the 4 trees that have to be taken out for the road?
No.
No?
It's not even on their property.
Right. Okay.
Question, Mr. Chair. Does it automatically get continued, the PUD, or do we have to make a motion to continue?
Oh, good call out. Do we have to make a motion on both of those?
Did you clarify on just for the whole item itself?
Just the subdivision, wasn't it?
I did it just for the
Because we have
subdivision for the first one.
An amendment to your motion to include tree protection standards.
Chair, this is Commissioner Prince. I motion that we had an amendment to my earlier motion to lump it all in together and continue it at all to the May 20th meeting.
With tree protection.
With tree protection as delineated by Chair Roach, so loquaciously.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Does that lump it all in together?
Yeah, that lumps
Lumping it all together, including
lumping it all
PUD
together.
and subdivision?
PUD and subdivision, it's all
For clarity on the
one.
lumping. I got it. All right, lumping clarified.
We'll
So
just
with
blame
that-
Brad for this.
Yeah, Brad shouldn't have missed the meeting. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Font seconds. We'll again call for a vote. Commissioner Barron?
Aye.
Commissioner Gahn?
Aye.
Commissioner Prince?
Aye.
Commissioner Font?
Aye.
Commissioner Cunningham?
Aye.
And Chair Roach votes aye. So everything's been lumped together and both motions have been clarified of what is hoped for and looking forward to on the next meeting.
We will be out of town the next meeting.
for continued, that if they can just continue it to the next one, can't they?
Yeah, so we can do either the next one, or if you have a representative that could present for you, that would also be okay. Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think we're wedded to the 20th. That was just the next meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, it can get continued from there. I think there's like however much. What's the expiration date on these? Like 60, 90 days, something like that?
For continuance, as long as you're still actively pursuing application, that doesn't expire.
Okay.
There you go. For the win.
June 3rd is the meeting after that.
Yeah.
Well, when summer vacation gets done, we'll look forward to seeing you guys back, and appreciate everybody's comments on that. Unless there's anything we're missing, I think we're ready to roll into the next item on here.
I do like the creativity
Yeah?
in the trying to change the lines to make better use of keep the green space and keep as much of the canopy. I think it's great.
I was going to save all my flattery for the next meeting, but
I figured I'd just throw them a little bone. Just
absolutely. If more developers came in here and said, here, we want to save all the trees,
we
I'd
want to
probably
save
be
trees.
having a lot more fun over here. So, all right. Well, thanks again. And we will move forward now with the Davies subdivision preliminary plat. And we'll give everyone who's here and had all that fun to step out, and then we'll invite city staff to come up and talk to us about this next item.
Did you call me up for this?
Not yet. We invited city staff.
That's what it was. I heard an invite.
Sorry, delayed.
We'll pick on you when it's time. Don't worry.
Was there something specific we need to cover with them?
Sorry, I'm just
Maybe
going to
just
pull
for
up
the
the aerial
benefit of
so
us
it's easier to
here,
see.
so I don't have to get up if you want to pop that door as you're walking to the podium.
All right.
More about the east edge, because they approached me and we had a, that's not the sidewalk.
Okay, on to the next item. Mislabeled on the staff report as item number 1. This is item number 2 for the Davies subdivision. It's a 3-lot, single-family residential subdivision in the R143 zone with a 1-acre minimum lot size. On the corner of Holladay Boulevard and 6200 South. The 3 lots were originally approved with a concept a couple of years ago. They didn't follow through with preliminary, so they're back today for the preliminary. There's notes in the staff report about requirements that just need to be made, additional notations on their civil set of plans noting the 500-year floodplain that's on the west side of the properties. That area doesn't.
Gary, I'm just going to pause you a quick moment. I apologize. John and applicants in the back, if you guys can use library voices or step outside, I'm having a hard time concentrating on 2 conversations here, so I appreciate it. Carrie, if you continue, please.
Sure. Sure. Okay. Item 2, Davies subdivision.
Davies subdivision.
Okay, this is 3-lot subdivision located on the corner of 6200 South and Holladay Boulevard. It's in the R143 zone with a 1-acre minimum lot size. The property has a 500-year floodplain on the west side of the property and then a significant slope on the east side of the properties. That's noted on their subdivision plat. All of the cross-hatched area is unbuildable, greater than 30% slope, so structures can't be within that area. The rest of the area that's the floodplain is buildable area. It just needs to be noted on the plat as such. The building permits won't be submitted until the subdivisions are reviewed and approved. It complies with all 3 lots, comply with the standards in the R143 zone with width, street frontage, and total land area. The city engineer does have a few requirements for comments or changes on their final plat. So in the motion, it's one of those conditions is to address comments from the city engineer before the final plat is approved. Final plats are approved by staff, so findings and conditions are noted in the motion. Pretty minimal on this one, as it's fairly straightforward. Do we have any questions for me, or you want to move into the applicant coming up?
So we're okay with the city engineer requirements not being completely vetted out at this time to move forward, though?
Yeah, we discussed it with the city engineer today, the requirements for curb gutter sidewalk. He has a potential idea with making some bike lane improvements to increase some safety at that corner instead of having a full sidewalk there. Just the nature of Holladay Boulevard, it's not the greatest place to require a sidewalk to nowhere. So that will be worked through with the applicant. There's drainage issues there that was a concern with the city engineer as well. If we put in curb and gutter, how does that affect stormwater runoff on neighboring properties? So that is kind of in process. All of those other comments made by the city engineer, he'll look at those before final approval. But engineering kind of comments and changes can take some time, so that's why they aren't maybe not fully addressed, but that is something that he does in his review.
Okay, appreciate
any
that
other
clarification. Any other questions for city staff?
Okay.
All right, and then I'm going to give the applicant a directive here before they come up and talk to us at this time. To redeem yourself, if you would use that loud voice you have to direct to this crowd right outside the door, if they would take their conversation down the hall, we'll probably be able to hear everything a little bit better. And then we'll have the applicant come up.
This is Mr. Davies. I'm Kent with McNeil Engineering. I want to thank Carrie here for putting together, hitting a lot of those bullet points that were there. So one of the things that
Let's pause you real quick. John or someone, can you walk out there and invite them to move that down the hall, please?
No, John?
Sorry.
Would you like me to continue or hold?
Just a minute. I'm just going to have them take their party downstairs or something. Oh, that's perfect. They can go to the other room. There's just not a lot of sound buffering coming from that hallway, and the glass doesn't help much, so get them to move.
And my hearing's terrible as it is, so.
Right.
Wouldn't that be great?
Or double pane glass, something, I don't know. I noticed they finally fixed the one that shattered.
Yeah, thank goodness.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Now, we'd love to hear from you.
Okay, all right. So just to back up, my name's Kent Withers. I'm with McNeil Engineering. I was the professional land surveyor that's worked on the plat and submitted the application on behalf of Mr. Davies and his wife. And I wanted to just regurgitate a thank you to Carrie here for, striking the major bullet points of the development, and then I'll go through and add a little bit more to it, if I may. So the house on the south, on what's lot 3 right now, that's to remain intact as it as it exists today, along with most of the vegetation along the south. So lot 3 is going to remain largely untouched. Carrie mentioned the large slope and up on the east side of it, and wanted to point out that the applicant and the owners are desirous of maintaining that slope and the vegetation that's on it today. So again, non-buildable due to slopes that are there, but they want to protect and preserve, that vegetation that's up along the eastern border of the development. And then in addition to that, on the west side, it's been a recommendation to widen the road over there, and so is in connection with the subdivision. We're also proposing some dedications across the frontage of the street to allow for, some curb improvements along the front of it, sidewalk that the curb and gutter that she mentioned, and the sidewalk, and just to kind of help that be a little bit safer of an intersection along the south side the eastern side of the road through there. So And then the last thing that I'd point out would be is that if you guys aren't already familiar with this area of the subdivision, what it looks like currently today, it's anticipated that as you're driving by this is just on the other side of the little the cotton bottom, right? That's over there, and that kind of the iconic eating spot that's there. So in the large part, as you're passing by this development, you're not going to see any significant changes in what's being proposed here from what it looks like today. And then the Davies. So my understanding is that the Davies are planning to construct a house, which hasn't been brought forward to you guys yet, but they plan to construct a house on what would be lot 2, and then lot 1 for the foreseeable future. I think that they're going to hold that in escrow, and there's no immediate plans for development on the upper lot. And that's it. Any questions for me?
I don't think so. We'll have you sit down. All right. Appreciate that narrative and explanation. And with that, this is a public hearing, so we'll go ahead and open the public hearing at this time. I think it looks like most of the public had left, but we'll just double check. Was there anyone that wanted to come up and speak on this tonight here? All right. Looks like that was the main fare on number 1, so we'll go ahead and close the public hearing on item number 2. Since there were no comments to address, we will not re-invite the applicant up. Unless commissioners have any questions for the applicant or staff after the narrative given.
I have a question for the applicant. We've seen this already. How come it didn't go? That was just a curiosity. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll let him, Mr. Davies answer that. But
Great.
My understanding is that it just kind of got put on hold for a little bit. But,
Yeah, actually, I mean, to my own ignorance, I didn't know it expired either. So I had no idea. I thought once we were approved, if it took us 2 years or 1 year or whatnot. I know some other things have come up recently. I mean, since we started talking about this, that had more to do with like where we wanted to put trees and all that other stuff. But yeah, this was more just making sure that all 3 lots complied with the 1 acre. And yeah, the feedback I got last time I was here a year ago was that all made sense. So, yeah, this is mostly just to make sure we're still complying, I guess. Okay. And I guess just to spend more money, I guess.
Holiday needed some more, so,
apparently moving 2 lines quite expensive in this world. So, yeah. I guess my only other question would be just we talk about a sidewalk, but it's not a pedestrian access space is what I was told a long time ago, not by John, but actually because we started this process back when John's predecessor was here. Is there a plan to turn that into a pedestrian?
So we did review it today with the city engineer, and we've been out on the site and looked at it. He has some recommendations, and I'll be sending those over to both you and your engineer, with improving the corner slightly and making the bike lane safer, increasing some distance between the travel lane and the bike lane, and possibly putting like a curb bump out slightly to protect bikes behind a curb just for a small section. So we just discussed that today, that those comments will come to next year, or to your engineer. That will likely be the improvement that we'd require versus a full curb gutter sidewalk down the entire length.
So, yeah, can I comment again? I don't know.
Well, I mean, at this point, you guys are having a discussion here. I don't know. Do we need to be privy to this for anything that we're making decisions on? Or
we're probably just going to make a recommendation that you do whatever the city engineer asks you to do.
Pretty much. So, yeah, unless there's something we need to vet out with this, I think we'll have you guys sit down.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we're good.
We'll now turn to each other to make any additional discussion we feel necessary on this that has already once come before this commission and been approved 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like, it's the same thing. It's like take 2.
Right. So
previous. So now it's my turn.
Yes. Previous process was concept, preliminary, final. So we did the concept with the public hearing, but then it just didn't come back for the preliminary that would have all the civil details. In that time, our subdivision ordinance changed, and now just preliminary goes to the planning commission. So since they didn't come back for their preliminary approval with all the civil details, that's why it didn't go through a final approval process, because they didn't get the preliminary approval. So here we are today on preliminary.
Fair enough.
I just want to say I strongly approve of this idea to improve the bike lane and not require the sidewalk. That makes a lot of sense in the context. I think that's a great thing to use in this context.
Okay. Any other questions for staff or discussion for this? Unless someone's ready to make a motion.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Hey, let's go for it.
This is Commissioner Cunningham, and I motion that we approve the preliminary plat application by Kent Withers for the Davies subdivision, a 3-lot subdivision located at 6171 South Holladay Boulevard in the R143 zone based on the following findings. 1, development details required by a preliminary plat have been submitted and reviewed by the TRC. 2, proposal is in accordance with the development, land use standards, and lot size criteria specified in the Holladay City General Plan and Title 13 of Holladay Zoning and Subdivision Regulation Codes. 3, the new lots are proposed to have direct access to public streets. 4, fire access is existing, labeled and approved by the UFA. 5, utilities are all readily available and connection letters have been submitted. 6, areas of steep slopes are indicated and labeled as unbuildable as per Holladay grading standards 13.76 with the following conditions of approval. 1, delineate the 500-year floodplain area on the plat. And 2, address all comments by city engineer prior to final approval. And also within 1 year in accordance with 1310A070E to complete administrative review and approval of the final plat by the technical review committee.
This is Commissioner Barrett. I'll second that.
Wow, that was quick. All right. Commissioner Barron seconds. Thank you. We'll go ahead and call for a vote. Commissioner Cunningham?
Aye.
Commissioner Fott?
Aye.
Commissioner Prince?
Aye.
Commissioner Gong?
Aye.
Commissioner Barron?
Aye.
And Chair Roach votes aye again. So we'll look forward to. Did you have a question, sir?
I do, just a quick question. You know, pending the changes to what you mentioned there for the sidewalk, I see that the lots are, you know, slightly over 1 acre. It's in a 1 acre zone currently. You know, should some of those dedications or whatever might be required by city engineering, if that drops, it doesn't look like it would drop below the minimum 1 acre size of this that current configuration, but I wonder would the body consider variance?
Yeah, that one's
I'm going to pause you there and say that's an excellent question for city staff at a different venue and time, because we are done with this one. You guys got what you needed. You're good to go. So thank you very much. All right. And in the effort of efficiency, don't label me. Let's move on to action item number 3, site plan amendment 5025 South Island Drive. And we'll invite city staff to give us the rundown on that.
Once I scroll to the appropriate section here, I'll just go to their site plan. That's the easiest thing to see.
Do you think he's going to make it back within a year? Sorry, that shouldn't have been recording.
The one thing I know is I probably won't be.
All right. Item number 3, appropriately labeled on the staff report. This is a return of mixed-use commercial residential subdivision and PUD. Some added notes from the last time the commission met with requirements for showing a 10-foot setback from the property line on Highland Drive. That's shown now on the plat next to the commercial building. With that, the commercial building square footage increased. The previous plan had patios. That's now just part of the building. And then that 10-foot setback is shown. 10-foot sidewalk is also shown on there. And the requirements for the parking lot landscaping have been added. So you'll see those islands added with trees there. And then the required trees for the townhomes on the east side of the property those trees have been shown and added on that site. So those were the 3 requirements from our previous meeting, and available for your review. Any questions for me before the applicant?
Any questions for city staff? Nope, I think we'll have the applicant come up. You've been patiently waiting for a long meeting. It's your time.
Well, I don't really have much to say other than I hope you find that your wishes were my command and we put it all together. I've got the momentum. I've got everything in place. I just ask you to please approve it so that we can move on with this finally.
All right. Any questions for the applicant?
No.
All right, well, I guess you're all set. It was a long meeting to sit through, but. All right. And there is no public hearing on this. We already had that last time. So commissioners, as I look at this, they moved the building back. They were able to figure out how to make whatever work with the square footage to where that 10-foot easement is there, which should open up a little bit more landscape buffer and hopefully amenity to the city's ultimate plan along this corridor. I like the trees in the stalls itemized out there. According to city staff, there are more trees along that east edge than required. Looking at the placement thereof, the only thing that I could think of would be if those trees are fully dedicated columnar, for example, flowering pears, then that still leaves some pretty significant gaps in tree canopy coverage along that east side. So if someone's going to make a motion on this tonight, the only thing I might add on there, since this is part of a PUD, right? PUD is what's in this. So I would ask maybe that we choose trees that are going to branch out a little bit and provide a little bit more canopy than a straight up columnar tree would do. So that would accommodate the concerns about long-term tree coverage on that east side. So not increasing the count, just the growth pattern.
Yeah, the neighbors had already planted some trees along there. I'm just trying to, because I am bringing somebody to help me do those townhomes in, and I just, the more restrictions I have, it's like, we're going to do what's right, and we have the number.
Yeah, I'm not asking for cottonwoods, just a little bit more canopy than a flowering pear. Okay. But shouldn't change anything you have in this layout version other than just perhaps type of tree.
Cool.
Maybe I wasn't here for the last meeting on this, but what's this about the recommendation to City Council to vacate an unused portion of the Arbor Lane right-of-way?
Yes. So we were missing a few commissioners last time, so that, and I don't think I put that previous packet in this current packet. Discussed that the last one was this area that is the old alignment of Arbor Lane. As it was realigned, then there's this large area that's still owned by the city, that the city then is willing to dedicate to this property owner. So that requires approval by the city council. With doing that, that's then included in the motion is a recommendation to city council. That vacation area that's outlined here would then go to the next city council meeting.
Do they sell that land to the property owner? Or do they...
I don't remember what exactly the terms are, but it's always just been that will be vacated for the use by this property, or will become part of this property. There is a dedication area along this part. The current property line comes down like this, and I believe that's included in a dedication. And then also a dedication along Highland Drive to increase that sidewalk width. So I think it may have been kind of a trade-off of we can't use this old alignment area, and you're going to dedicate some area along Highland Drive. So we'll switch things around.
Swap.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Yeah, you can see that dedication area here on this second one. So it's all this portion along there. And then this is the area that would be dedicated or acquired from Holladay City.
All right, good question. Do we have anyone with additional questions, or is anyone prepared to make a motion on this?
I should make the motion since I gave him so much trouble last time.
Commissioner Font, are you prepared?
I swear on my.
We have two, right?
Yeah, there's two motions on this.
Okay, where am I here?
You got one? You got it?
Is this the PUD amendment?
No, this is the subdivision.
I move,
Glasses.
I move to approve the preliminary.
Is your microphone on?
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Sorry, Commissioner.
I move to approve the preliminary plat for 5025 South Highland Drive, a mixed-use planned unit development in the C2 zone, upon finding that separation of residential units into 4 twin home structures meets the requirements of a PUD, previously approved 10-foot setback for new townhomes can be maintained, 10-foot sidewalk on Highland Drive with dedication is shown on plat, 10-foot setback from the back of sidewalk is approved, landscaping and open space around perimeter of property with patio areas and in residential spaces meets requirements for open space, additional trees above required amounts to be located in the rear yards of units 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the east side of property. With the conditions, address all other requirements and conditions from the subdivision amendment, and any other conditions recommended by the Planning Commission to include that any trees planted
On the east side. Along that east side.
along the east side involve some sort of a canopy and not be just columnar trees, so that we have some shade afforded to the residents. Is that it?
Quick note, those are the findings for the PUD. So we need to go, the findings for the subdivision amendment are on page 2. And that's the motion that we're on.
Are you at B?
Yeah.
That one?
I didn't read B though. Also within.
That's the wrong findings, is what Carrie's
Yeah,
saying.
so you're making a motion for the subdivision plat, but then use the findings from the PUD amendment.
It's the very bottom of page 2.
Can we just reference the staff report
Yes.
for that?
Yep, so your motion can be to reference the staff report, the findings in the staff report for the subdivision amendment.
Okay, my motion also.
Instead.
You want to start again? Just
No, you do it. I tried.
It's okay.
I gave you so much grief last 2 weeks ago. As long as you're saying yes. So tell me, I'm lost on this, because tell me.
Are you comfortable if we just say that the staff amend this to the staff findings found on page 2?
Oh,
2 or 4?
Yes. Yep, so the subdivision findings are on page 2. The planned unit development amendment is on page 3.
So she has the motions at the
What
bottom.
she said.
And I'll second that.
Okay.
There's a continuation, or there's still more to the motion for the favorable versus unfavorable for the vacation of.
Was that a separate?
Yeah, we haven't
motion?
gotten to that yet. That's a separate motion.
We're on the first motion, right?
The recommendation for city council needs to be included in that subdivision amendment.
Okay.
Holy shit.
So the second part, it says with a, so where with is bolded on page 3.
With a.
Page 3 with a what? There we go. Okay.
So that's.
Should we start again?
Yeah.
Do you think?
Let's clean it up with a
Motion for the
Right.
subdivision.
redo motion.
He's willing to start over.
I'll go for it again. We're gonna have a redo. Do you mind? We're gonna start over, but in a really good way. Okay,
We're gonna make it.
in a really good way. This is Commissioner Prince. I move to approve the preliminary plat for 5025 South Highland Drive, a mixed-use planned unit development in the C2 zone upon the findings in the staff report and the conditions in the staff report, with a favorable recommendation to the City Council to vacate an unused portion of the Arbor Lane right-of-way, combining that area within the boundary of the plat, also within 1 year and in accordance with 13.10A.070.E to complete administrative review and approval of the final plat by the Technical Review Committee.
This is Commissioner Barron. I'll second that.
We have the motion and a second. We'll call for a vote. Commissioner Cunningham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bullitt.
Aye.
Commissioner Prince.
Aye.
Commissioner Gone.
Aye.
And Commissioner Barron.
Aye.
And Chair Roach votes aye. All right. So first one down, second one to go.
I'm on a roll tonight. Let's go. This is Commissioner Prince. I move to approve the mixed-use planned unit development site plan application submitted by Mr. Brett Laughlin for 5025 South Highland Drive, a mixed-use planned unit development in the C2 zone upon the staff findings listed in the report with the conditions listed in the report.
This is Commissioner Barron. I'll second that.
Do we have an
This is Commissioner Roach. I'd like to make an amendment to yours to include the tree type, to include a canopy larger than columnar on the east side of the property.
Oh, I'm good with that amendment. Okay.
So noted.
So noted.
And Commissioner Barron's second stands on that.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have, and we will call for a vote. Commissioner Barron.
Aye.
Commissioner Gone.
Aye.
Commissioner Prince.
Aye.
Commissioner Bullitt.
Aye.
Commissioner Cunningham.
Aye.
And Chair Roach votes aye.
Woo!
Look at that. We made it through all three of them. Now we got the final one on our agenda tonight, which is the long-awaited continued text amendment on outdoor lighting standards. And John, I'm not even going to ask you to get up to the podium if you just
Okay.
want to give us a quick reminder of what this is about and what you changed.
When it's about, the council members have been approached by some citizens looking for some residential lighting code standards rather than just commercial. A full draft was presented to the planning commission. Several amendments have been changed based upon those meetings. The reason why you're seeing it again tonight, we wanted to make sure, well, it was staff recommendation to make sure that we had as many planning commissioners available to make that motion. I think that was accepted generally as a good idea, so now you're seeing it tonight. There hasn't been any changes since that meeting to this draft. So if you have any additional changes, we can take a look at them, or a motion to recommend with those changes can be had before we recommend to the city council for review.
Okay. And did we ever receive any additional public comment or anybody at all talking about this since since the public meeting was, or public hearing was closed?
No.
Has there been anything else that's
Not
even
that
come
I
up
know.
regarding lighting?
Mhm.
Okay. Just curious for my own edification. All right, commissioners, any questions for staff on this?
I missed the juicing. I missed so much juiciness last time. I missed.
There you go, Angela.
This is where all the action
Never been
happens.
travel again.
I'll take a stab at this one.
I think I can do this.
All right.
You got this.
This is Commissioner Font. I move to recommend the proposed section 13.84 outdoor lighting standards as amended to the city council for their final review and consideration.
All right, do we have a second?
You want a second?
I'll second the motion.
Commissioner Gone seconds. We'll call for a vote. Commissioner Cunningham.
Aye.
Commissioner Font.
Aye.
Commissioner Prince.
Aye.
Commissioner Gone.
Aye.
Commissioner Barron.
Aye.
And Chair Roach votes aye. So with that,
Thank you very
council
much.
has it in their hands.
I think this is the last item on the agenda.
I think so.
If I may just take a moment. There is so much work that Carrie does behind the scenes before these applications get to you. So many drawings, iterations, conversations, emails, fervent phone calls from neighbors to get these drawings ready for planning commission review. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge all the work your senior planner does behind the scenes, because it's no small task every day to make that work, especially when you're here a little bit later to do writing all the reports for backup material. So I appreciate what she does for you and for the planning commission.
No applause needed.
It's my job.
Nice work.
Thank you very much, Carrie. Appreciate it. And
And especially when you're preparing for something you know is going to be, spicy.
spicy, there it is again, spicy, yeah.
What I told Chair Roach on Monday. It's like, it might be a little spicy, but Cinco de Mayo, it's great.
It all worked out.
Seis de Mayo.
Seis de Mayo, yeah.
So,
Well, I appreciate, sorry, Chair Roach, I'll just take a moment and say, I appreciate all of our city staff for giving us good information to work with and helping to guide us to do things appropriately so that we can make informed decisions. And I'm glad to work with this group.
absolutely.
And I'll add forever thanks for our commission as well. You guys do a great job in reviewing all these. It's sometimes a lot of work to wade through all of the comments and all the things that come in, and your interactions with the public are always fantastic. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and absolutely. Round of applause for all, because you're all doing it. Pat yourselves on the back and pat each other on the back. So nice job. And it is an absolute pleasure to chair this committee. Just quick question. How long does that last again?
Till you're done. Till you're done.
Signed up for another round.
I know, but that was like a year ago. I wasn't even here and I got signed up for another round. I thought it was great.
We do our best work when you go out of town.
Just so you know, I am looking to go out of town.
Just tell us when you're gone again, and
We'll consider it the week you're gone.
All right. Well, with that, we've hit all the items on our packet, and it is time to adjourn. I'm not going to ask for a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're out of here. Have a good night, everyone.
Boom. Way to go, Dennis. You're just rolling.
Controversy.
Restaurant used to have